Hello, Proof. Hello, everyone. This is my final presentation, and I choose the second topic that we can choose, which is explain the awareness, obsession of life, of time in for a writer that we have read from at least two different units. I think, the as a linear art based on the text of a medium, I think literary are closely related to time. And I know that there are so many writers that argue that time is a major part of literary. And I know that E.M. Forster, in her novel Face View, says that related to time is especially important to fiction, and no novel is without time. So indeed, I think in a literary work that does not involve time is unbelievable. We can't think those kind of things. So they have such close relationship. So I really want to like analyze those kind of thing with everybody here. And the conception of time has experienced the development progress from childish to major, and from the objective to subjective, from the internal measurement to inner feeling. And we all know that the study of time in history can be divided in two categories. The one is scientific research of time, which regarded time as something ready-made, and then study the relationship between the time and other ready-made things in the world. And obviously, in this topic, we are more concerned about the philosophical study of time. So, based on humans' experience of time, I think human beings have come up with two kinds of time experience. The first is that from the outside, like from the season, from the daylight and the night, and from all of things that outside things that we can feel the time passed. And the other kind of experience of time, the flow of time from our inner thought, like we just lie on the bed, we just stay with somebody maybe we love to stay with, and we feel the time pass. We feel that that I we don't know that what has happened outside, but we just feel that in this moment time is passing. So these are two kind of things, and I really want to discuss those kind of like time with you, with four writers. The first author I really want to introduce to everyone here is William Wordsworth. In his article, in his poems, we can see that time in literature can be vague and can also be specific. And in his article, in his poem, the time is specific. I can give you an example here. In his poem, lines composed a few miles above Tainter Abbey. And the first line, he told us that 5 years have passed and 5 summer with the lawns of 5 long winters. So we can say the specific number 5. So, in my opinion, some virgule like time and can be such a long time or such a short time, but they won't like describe the specific number of time, but Haiti. So her description of the 5 year, what is true meaning he want to told us is that it had been a long time, but he used the specific time. So I think this is the awareness of time of William Wordsworth. Um, and also there is the ideas of his awareness of time is that he think that we should enjoy the pleasure right now, because time is going and it can't return back in the future. So everything is changing. If you are happy right now, then enjoy it, because in the future it must be changed, and all of the same happiness now can't return back. So we can also find some evidence in his poems, in the same poems, and in the 16 line about 16 line, there's a sentence that of pride and pleasure, but with pleasantness thought that in this moment there's life and food for the future years, and so I dare to hope. though changed, no doubt. From what I read from Edwards when first I came among these hills, when like a real I bounded over the mountains, like this kind of things. He just want to describe that the time must be changed, and there's no doubt that the time will pass. So, and also in other of his poems, the ode on intimidation of immortality, like. There is a sentence. There was a time when meadow, grove, and steam, the things which I have seen, I now can say no more. So this is the idea that he think time will go. So there are so many things he can say right now. In the future, he can't say anymore, or those kind of things he can say in the past of the time and he can't say right now. So this is the idea that time will not return back. And also, so this is the ideas of William Wordsworth. So the next person I really want to introduce to you, you guys, is a Lord Byron. I just want to mention him because I think his poem is so beautiful, and it's kind of like inner thought of the time, because when I read about his poem, I can't really find the time pass. But I think that the time pass so quick, because when I read this, I will fall into his beautiful poem. And the most beautiful one, I think, is the stanza of music. Um, in this poem, there are so many beautiful things, like the charmed oceans is pushing, and the waves lie still and gleaming, and the lured wines seem dreaming, those kind of things. We can't feel the time pass, but because of, there are so many things like pausing. The time it seemed like run so slow. So we can easily fall into this poem because of the time is so slow, and we can have time to enjoy this poem. I just have this feeling, so I really want to mention this kind of like point to everyone here. And the next one is Shelley. Mm, I like him so much. His poem is so beautiful, and he has the same point that the time will go and will not return back, like what I said before from William Wordsworth. It is in his kind of poem, stand written in the Jackson, that there is a sentence on the 40 lines. As I, when this sweet day is gone, which my lost heart to soon grown old. So, the sweet day can't come back. It is kind of point that told us that the time will not return. And the other point of Shelley's time awareness is about the season. In his poem that the Ode of Worsting Wind, in this poem, there is a sentence I really, really love, that if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So in here, I just think that it reminds me of a sentence that the only weapon to defeat the time is faith. Is that if we always believe that the spring will come, then we won't be afraid of the long, long winter, because if we can wait, and the time is always going, so the spring will finally come. So we just insist and move on, and we can wait for the spring. It's kind of a positive attitude toward the life. So it can also compare to the other author, that it is Rosalia de Castro. I'm not so sure about how to describe this name, because it's not English name. And in her poems, I can also say the description of the season, like there's a sentence that Because the grave is covered now and quite soon up from the newly broken coals, the grass will push, it will be green and fresh. So here it has such a different feelings about the positive feelings I talked about. It's like that, it can be a deep sadness that we are so small, we are so sad, but because of the time is always move on, and it will never stop, so that even though we are so sad, the grass will move on to be green and to be fresh, and everything will just go in their role and won't change. So this is kind of time that we can think that we are so small, and the time is so big. It is always move on, and it won't change because of ourselves. And also there are some sentence like, oh, never, never more. Hey, it's gone, gone never, and to never to return. So I think it is a deep sadness, and it can be a reflection that the life can't return back. This is the other author's time awareness. It is also think that the time is just moving on and won't return back. But the attitude toward the life can be negative, but not positive, like Shelley. And what I really want to talk about is George Borge. I think his like a novel, The Garden for Forking Paths, is kind of deep thinking about the time. It is not just description of the time. It is not the description about like themselves or their feelings. It is a deep thinking that what it time be, or what we can think from the time. So I really want to talk about this. And we can say that this is a story that, during the World War I, and Yu Huai is an like spy, or was trying to inform his like task about the important information in order to evade the pursuit of the British captain. He made a plan to visit the home of Cygnus, like Captain Albert, and with the flowers of the trio fork to say the manuscript of his ancestors. His conversation with Albert explored the mystery of the novel, which is the time. It is a like core thinking of the novel. And the moment before the captain caught him, he killed the Albert and informed his boys of the city named Albert. So I think the meaning of the maze in this article is referred to, Yu Huai's ancestors left the novel, also refer to the paths for garden, but however, I think that the maze refer to the time extension because of the infinite possibility of life in the future is uncertain. So this fiction is only a mystery of time. So I just want to talk about this. I think the first is a parallel universe and even multi-dimensional space, the infinite extension of time and space. But I think in infinite time, life is different choice that are pointing to different future. But however, according to this author, assuming that we can see all of the choice and possibilities, then these possibilities can be like arranged together, arranged well. So perhaps we can see our line of the fate. So it can be kind of, in some accept that we can decide our fate. So it is not all out of control. So the infinite possibility in the extension of time can also become like limited. So I think this is kind of deep thinking about the life, about the time I can get from this article, and which is my favorite novel in all of this course. So thank you for listening. It is all of my final presentation, and I hope I can, deep learning the Western literature in the future because I love it so much. Thank you.